new players some of the content that people have been building. So with that, I think we're going to show off today some of our favorite Day of Infamy mods that we've been compiling the last day or two. So with that, I'm just going to switch over to our mod article. So you guys can find this in-game in the menu. I think it's the 4th item down right now. And we'll post this right after the stream. But yeah, lots of different types of mods, and I know that I put it here at the top that you said a little bit of a history of Day of Infamy, but New World Interactive as a company kind of got started off as a modding team, a team that went in and created Insurgency and went from a modding team to be a full-fledged game designer. So I don't know if you want to give any more back history into that, but definitely modding is important to the company and to a lot of the people that work here.
Yeah, well, like modding is in our blood, really. We were very much inspired and influenced by Half-Life mods way back in the day. Like, biggest inspiration for Day of Infamy, besides Insurgency, obviously, is Day of Defeat, which is one of the original Half-Life mods, which was totally awesome, and I played that in high school every day at lunch and every night whenever I could. So that influence is what we carried over into developing the Insurgency mod 10 years ago now, over 10 years ago. It released in July of 2007, so that's amazing that it's been a decade of Insurgency. And so, yeah, modding is obviously very important to us, and we wanted to, foster and grow that sort of community within our own games, and created Insurgency as a modding platform. So yeah, we're happy to see that it's working. We've got a whole bunch of our favorite workshop mods here that we can go through and sort of like highlight, and you never know who's going to emerge next as a professional game developer from the modding roots. Big, most famous example these days is PlayerUnknown and Battlegrounds. Like, that started as a mod for Arma 2 and DayZ, and then for Arma 3, and then basically that was a prototype for the full game. So yeah, mods are amazing, and I encourage people to even just like experiment yourself. That's how you do it. You just learn by doing.
Yeah, and like think of all the most popular games right now, like Dota, League of Legends. They all started as a Warcraft 3 mod, Counter-Strike, Half-Life mod. It's like most of the most popular games started out as a mod, and the teams kind of grew out from there. So it's really a good opportunity now for young developers to get into the scene. And it's become way easier since the advent of Steam and these open digital distribution platforms that allow you to publish something directly to an audience without necessarily having to go through a publisher, that sort of thing. You're just basing your game and how popular it is based on how much the community likes it and wants to test it. So with that, we're going to show off some of our favorite mods. So I separated these out into different areas. So first one we're going through is something like the UI mod. So I'm going to show you this loading screen mod, which kind of takes like historical war footage and puts it into the like main menu background. It's really cool.
Yeah, that's really neat. And there's one for each faction. So if you're interested in the Commonwealth, you can get a Commonwealth one, you can get a German one, or an American one.
Yeah, one for each. And there's another animated background here, which is based on one of our more popular maps, Sicily. And see the smoke rising in the background. And this is for the actual inventory menu. So lots of different places where people have replaced content inside of the game.
Yeah, that's really nice. And there's a few other ones out there as well. There's some that kind of like put you in a barracks and in the Rhineland factory, that kind of thing. So just check them out if you don't like the Sicily one in particular.
This one I definitely liked because it was, it is in honor of our free weekend that a community member made, and they took like these images that I know you were working hard to commission from our team. Of kind of the face-off between the the German forces and the Commonwealth forces. So there's a bunch of different versions of this, but this is the one that we ended up using as our free weekend image, at least in terms of promotion right now. So it's pretty cool that somebody went and did this. It wasn't us doing it.
Yeah, it's always nice to see.
So here's one that's in game that basically changes the HUD icons for grenades. So I'll just go to in game. And so when you basically go and select a grenade, it'll show the different types of grenades and what they do. So like the smoke one is more obviously a smoke grenade, so you're not reading just the text anymore. The explosion one like looks like an explosion. So I know I've done it before, and I think I clipped Mikey from maybe a week or two ago when he was on stream accidentally throwing the wrong grenade. So you never want to think you're throwing a smoke grenade, especially at close range, and it ends up being explosive grenade when your team's all crowded around near an objective or something like that. So if you're bad at reading the text or haven't memorized what number it's bound to, this one could definitely help you out. And then this one is actually kind of interesting because it is a mod that is basically a text replacement to make the text more historically accurate for each one of the guns and that sort of thing. We kind of use shorter form versions for some of the names of the guns and that sort of thing. So if you're a huge nerd and it kind of bothers you that we don't do that for every single gun in game, it'll replace the text for you. So like everybody enjoys their own style of the descriptions and that sort of thing. So I can see why somebody would go and make this. And then I put this under total conversions. I know it's not a full total conversion, but if you have seen it before, we featured it on stream. Basically what happened is this popular, I would say he's mainly a YouTuber, Bed Banana. He solicited the community to create a mod for him that was based around anime and anime characters. It's a ridiculous mod, and the video is even more ridiculous. But it replaces all the skins of the characters with anime characters. It replaces all the I think all the graffiti and the posters and that stuff with anime posters. It's just over the top ridiculous, and you guys should probably try it once. The audio alone is just hilarious.
Yeah, I like the video. That was enough for me.
The video's worth it. I mean, it is just worth it. If you go back through and find it, you can catch the link in the article. I'll just send you guys the article right now in chat. But it's an amazing mod. We've featured it and played it a couple times before on stream, so so definitely check this one out. So I put this one in. I've heard conflicting reports on whether the mod is currently working with the latest version or latest update for Day of Infamy or not. But I would say in terms of the ones that are released right now or have been tested, this is the most work into it from a variety of sources. It's the Born to Kill Vietnam mod. There's a ton of even community maps that have been created for Born to Kill Vietnam, and changes the setting of Day of Infamy to be in the Vietnam War. So you'll see a lot of different types of trees, maps, weapons that were more for that era, but kind of keeps that same Insurgency, Day of Infamy aesthetic going on in terms of gameplay and that sort of thing. I don't know, have you tried this one out before, Andrew?
Oh yeah, I played quite a bit of Born to Kill. It actually started as an Insurgency total conversion, but long before Day of Infamy was even announced. And then once DOI came out, they were able to switch it over pretty easily, and like kind of saw their B-52 bomber is amazing. I love their like napalm strikes and everything they've done with the fire support. It's super well done. But I hope they actually keep like updating and supporting it. Like I said, there's conflicting reports of whether it's working or not right now. But I hope they get it working, especially with the maps. We have that new foliage system and grass and everything.
Yeah.
So if they're able to utilize that, they can really enhance the sort of Vietnam jungle feel.
Yeah, the long grass or the rice field type aesthetic would be pretty cool for some like duck down, stand up type firefights. I could definitely see that. But you guys can go and try it out. We haven't heard much from the developers in a while, but I know the community says that it was still working last time they checked. So definitely check that one out. So next section is kind of models and sound. So this one is a little bit close to my heart. It is the Polish 1st Armored Division, and obviously last name's Blonsky. I've got some Polish heritage. My grandfather fought for the Polish army during World War II. So it replaces the skins with a Polish army uniform.
Yeah, I love how this has emerged as a mod. Like when designing the unit systems is kind of like what we had in mind of. Hopefully, people will create their own units and put them in game through the workshop that we don't have yet. Polish has also been on like the wish list for me for unit design because there's a pretty strong Polish gaming community. We have a lot of Polish Insurgency fans, so they were there in a lot of famous battles like Operation Market Garden. There was Polish paratroopers really pulled their weight. A lot of Polish troops fought in Italy as well. A lot of them unfortunately were lost at the Battle of Monte Cassino. But yeah, it's pretty cool to see that. So figured we should throw it in there as one of our top mods.
Yeah, for sure. Next one, I can't decide. I put this in the text. I can't decide whether this mod is horrific or hilarious. I just want you to listen to it and decide what you think. Okay, so this one replaces all the like death sounds and screams with some ones that are way, I would say, I can't decide, horrific or hilarious.
Yeah, I just had this one activated. And I was thinking it was a little too horrific.
I can't decide whether these are death sounds or some other types of sounds too. Like this is just.
I don't want to die.
If you want to spice up your game, and yeah, it's a ridiculous sound pack. I love it. So next one is something that I've been following because it's just been released I think it was a few weeks ago. By some of our Discord members that I actually talk to a lot, Noji and Ribs. They made the 442nd mod, which was basically a group of Japanese American soldiers that were, I think they weren't exactly conscripted, but they were allowed to fight for the American forces. There was some concern back then whether or not they would side with the Japanese as soon as they were in battle, which is kind of ridiculous. Like they're just going to run across the lines to the other side and they're just going to be there with open arms or something. But it changes the voices and has a half Japanese, half like American voice line vibe to it, and I think mainly replaces a lot of the officer sounds. Oh, you can hear a little bit of it, I guess.
Hold on, I'm real fucking close.
But yeah, the guys that are very active in the DOI community right now, especially on the Discord channel. So if you're ever in the Discord channel, there, which I will link to you right now. go and talk to these guys and check out their mod. Next one I liked because I liked the model, or sorry, the skin of the gloves and the name itself, the Tactical gloves, because you just don't want to be tactical, you want to be tactical. Add some like cool fancy gloves so that for each one of your weapons, so that you can look stylish while you're blowing away Nazis. We have the veteran Lewis gun, which is kind of cool because it adds, especially I like the paint job on the side with the kill count. And then I believe it has like what is that? Like a muzzle cooler? Is that what that is, Andrew? I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, I think it's water cooled. I'm not entirely sure how that Lewis works, but yeah.
Barrel shroud, overcomplicated pan magazine, invented in America, licensed in Belgium, all British. And also shares the name of Andrew's dog, who you can probably see every once in a while standing up on the couch in the background.
Yes, my dog's name is Lewis, but he's not named after the gun.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it wasn't in the back of your mind. Yeah.
No, not at all.
Yeah. How did you come up with the name then?
He's named after the island in Scotland where some of my ancestors are from.
Ah, okay. Yeah, I took the nerdy route. My dog's named after a character from the Alien movies, so. Next one, if you're a big Saving Private Ryan fan, you've got the cinematic MG42. Has no official affiliation with Saving Private Ryan because that would be a violation of copyright. But if you listen to the video, there's in movie and in game, so they kind of use the similar machine gun sounds for the mod, which is kind of cool if you're a big Saving Private Ryan fan. I mean, I think a lot of the reason why people still like World War II so much, even though they're removed from it, wasn't just because it's a war. It's because of a lot of the media that have people have absorbed over the last, especially 15, 20 years if you weren't born during that time. So like Saving Private Ryan was definitely an inspiration for a lot of people that are into World War II.
For sure.
We got the Camo Owen Gun, which is pretty self-explanatory. But from what I heard, this was like almost like an original paint job for some of the Owen guns that were released during the time.
Yeah, and we actually have a version of that, but it's not released. I know that we have the variation of the Camo Owen, so possibly as like a veteran skin. I don't know if that's going to happen, but yeah, this is really cool to just see it crop up on the workshop as well. As sometimes, we can't do everything, so it's really cool that modders are thinking along the same lines as us and put it right in.
And then I think the next one is an audio replacement for When the Commonwealth Wins. I think this one is pretty close to our heart, the Maple Leaf Forever Commonwealth Victory song. So it basically replaces the Commonwealth Victory song with Maple Leaf Forever. So I'm just going to take a second here. Everybody put your hand on your hearts.
I can play this on the pipes.
Oh, can you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. If anybody doesn't know, Andrew is a bagpiper in his regiment. So do you still do it very often? Like, do you have them at home?
I have them at home. I haven't done it as much as I have in the past. Had a couple gigs last couple months playing for the local football team, the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
Ooh.
That was pretty cool. But yeah, I've been piping for 20 years now, since I was 10. I guess 21.
And I think finally I gotta flesh this out a bit more with more maps, but I think the map I know you sent me was I don't know how to pronounce it correctly. Is it Donaire or Donaire?
I think people say Donaire. It might be Donaire. I don't know. It's French.
It is
but
probably Donaire if it's French.
But yeah, this map is a remake of the Day of Defeat source version, I believe. So yeah, a lot of people, you know, they miss Day of Defeat, so they see Day of Infamy as being a place where they can find that sort of experience, and this is one step closer to that.
Yeah, I know. I grew up playing a lot of Day of Defeat. It was one of my favorite games during the time. So getting into Day of Infamy and seeing some of like these older maps kind of brings up some cool old memories. And I know we have at least another map inside the game that's definitely almost a direct adaptation of a Day of Defeat map as well. So
yeah, we've got a couple that are certainly inspired, like sort of started with the same design principles, like and layout. So Salerno is derived from Avalanche, which is super popular, one of my favorite Day of Defeat maps, and Ortona is actually inspired by DoD Con from the original Day of Defeat mod. So it wasn't in like the later versions of it. It wasn't in Day of Defeat source. So we went way back in our inspiration. And I think Kamakyo also is derived from Merdere or Ramel. Really another old DoD mod reference.
Right. Yeah, there's obviously took a lot of inspiration from that game for Day of Infamy. So if you're a big fan, I know it's been a long time since that game's been out, but if you're a big fan, you'll definitely find some good gameplay and that sort of thing from our game as well. But yeah, that's a lot of the mods that we've picked out. I might add some to this list over the next little while. I'm going to link this article again in chat so you guys can check it out and add it to the game if you want to try something new and fresh, kind of liven up your experience. I know I've added a couple of these every once in a while just to make things kind of fresh for myself. But yeah, a big shout out to our modding community. I know, especially on the map front, a lot of the maps that we have that we set up for like the mapping contest and that sort of things are things that we've used in the games, even ones that haven't come first. I think what was it? Brittany was what, 4th or 5th?
I think it was 3rd, maybe. Yeah. First was Mercury, which we converted into Crete. Second was Kruppstahl, which we converted into Rhineland. Third was Brest, and that's now Brittany. Yeah,
and we've used a lot of people that have created mods or maps in the past, and some of them have joined our team even. So yeah, it's a definitely good opportunity for you guys to figure out well, how to create a video game, basically, and kind of gives you a leg up. Like anything that you can add to a portfolio is going to be a good thing if game design is something you want to get into. So if you just want to go play them, go check out the article, download the mods, but maybe this gives you some inspiration to create something for yourself in the future. Yeah, and with that, I think we're going to move